after the sleep paralysis had released me, that was the first thing that I told myself. I had said, when the morning come, I want to tell my father's boss's son everything that I had seen his father doing. But when the morning came, it was like someone had wiped off the memory of everything that had happened the previous night. It was only after many days, when my father's boss had came back, that was when the dreams and everything that had happened on that night, when I had seen my father's boss walking into that room that we were sleeping naked, that was when I started remembering everything. And when I started remembering everything, it was after he had given me money, and he had said, this money that I am giving you, it is a thank you for taking care of my son whilst I was away. That was when I started remembering that dream that I wanted to tell his son. And it was like he knew that I had remembered everything, because he looked at me and he whispered at me and he cursed me. I still remember the curse that he placed on my life. He said God had made a mistake by creating me. At that time, I was really young, so I could not even understand when he said that God had made a mistake by creating me. But as I grew much older, that was when I noticed that he was angry because I had seen him performing all of those rituals that he was performing. But anyways, as I grew older, I then started noticing that I had so much abnormal bad luck in my life. No matter how hard I would try to improve my life, there was always something that was coming out. Like at the time when I had raised up some money so that I can try to get a driver's license here in my country. For you to just get a driver's license, it is quite a difficult mountain to climb, because even if you are an experienced driver, the way that they are going to confuse you when you are doing the road test, they will make sure that you are going to fail. So when I went to the driving school, they told me that I was supposed to take out some money so that they can try and give to the people at the traffic department. So I had raised a lot of money. And when I had gone to do that license, my brother, I don't know what really happened on that day. But whilst we were busy doing our road test, that was when an operation was held at that traffic department, and that was how I lost on my money. So after they had been arrested, the money was then confiscated by the police, and I never recovered my money. No matter how hard I would try to improve my life, bad luck kept on happening each and every time. I then started visiting several priests until I met this other priest. He was one who mixed voodoo and Christianity. At that time, I was dating this other very beautiful lady, and I had told myself that this lady, with all of her beauty, she had chosen to give me a chance. And yes, my brother, she had told me that when I look at you, I see that there is poverty that is written all over your place, but do not be confused by my beauty, because I have looked at your life and I feel that you are the right man for me. But since I have chosen to give you this chance, please do not mess it up, so that your poverty won't bring a lot of infighting in our relationship. This lady, my brother, I had seen that indeed she truly loved me. I could not even dare to tell her that there was so much bad luck in my life, because I felt that if I was going to tell her that there was so much bad luck in my life and there was this other man who was a ritualistic man whom I had seen performing his rituals, and after I had seen him performing his rituals, he had then placed a curse on my life, and I was thinking that the curse that he had placed on my life was the one that was causing a lot of bad luck in my life. If I was going to tell her this whole story, then she was going to dump me, and I didn't want this very beautiful lady to dump me. So I then started going around meeting those voodoo priests, and until I had met that priest who mixed voodoo and Christianity. After I had started with my consultation and offering him a lot of money as per his request, I was then told to bring a cow for the rituals. This was quite an expensive thing for me. So I struggled for many months until I had raised up the money. But after I had raised up the money to buy a cow, I then saw that there was no way I was going to afford the money to hire someone who was going to pick up the cow from the place where I had bought it, then travel with me to that state where this priest was staying. It was a very long distance for me to hire a truck that was going to pick up this cow. I then spoke with that priest who mixed voodoo and Christianity about my situation, and he told me that as long as I had the money, all that was needed now was for me to come to his homestead, and after me getting to his homestead, then he was going to perform the rituals for me. I then went to that voodoo priest and he started with the rituals. I was then taken to a river. When I was taken to the river, my brother, I was just wearing an underwear and I was forced to go underwater until I could not even breathe. Whilst I was underwater, even if I tried to push myself out of the water, that priest kept on pushing me back into the water. He wanted us to perform this whole ritual whilst I was underneath the water. When I was underneath the water, I think that maybe I spent almost like 5 minutes. And when I was underneath the water for like 5 minutes, that was when I saw myself dying. I saw my life passing before me. The first thing that happened to me, I felt like I was so light, like my whole body was no longer mine. Then I started feeling dizzy. At the time when I started feeling dizzy, I think that I was no longer breathing at all. Then out of nowhere, I saw that there was a huge snake. This snake that just appeared before me, I don't know where it came from. All that I saw is that the snake coiled itself around me, just like what a python does when it is about to swallow its prey. That is what this snake did, but it was a very big snake. After it had coiled itself around me, then it swallowed me whole. After that snake had swallowed me, the next thing that happened is that I woke up, and when I had woken up, I was placed inside a very big wheelbarrow, and this big wheelbarrow, it was full of blood, not knowing where this blood had came from. And that priest, he was busy washing me with all of that blood. The only thing that he told me is that the blood that he was washing me with, it was the blood that he had taken from the cow that they had slaughtered whilst I was inside that snake's belly. And they told me that I had been in that snake's belly for about 2 weeks whilst I was inside that snake's stomach. And to me, it felt as if I was only inside that snake for only about a few minutes. Little did I know that so many weeks had gone by. And when he told me that the blood that was inside that wheelbarrow, it was a representation of my mother's blood, that was when I knew everything that I had done. I had sacrificed my own mother. After I was washed clean with that blood, he then gave me a bundle that had US dollars, and he told me that the money that he had given me for a year, I was not supposed to use it, no matter how hard life was going to be. So I returned back home. And when I returned back home, life really got so hard. There was this other place where I was working and I was fired. My brother, I reached even a point in my life whereby I was staying in the street, yet deep in my pockets, there was a huge bundle of US dollars. And I was told that I was not supposed to use that money for a whole year. After a year it passed, when I was just living in the street as a street kid, that was when I returned back to that priest with that same bundle of money that he had given me. I then returned the money back to him, and everyone at his shrine started celebrating, and they told me that now I had earned the right to get the money from his shrine. I was then taken back to the river. When I was taken back to the river, the same process that had been done on me the first time that I was joining this thing of me becoming a ritualist, it was done again. As I was being held, underneath the water, that snake appeared again after I had lost conscious. That was when I saw the snake. The snake, when it came around, I saw that now beside me there was a woman who was standing beside me, and this snake, it was full of blood. Like previously it had eaten someone, and now it wanted to eat the person who was standing beside me. So that woman who was standing beside me started walking towards the place where that snake was just coiled, looking at us. When that woman who was standing right next to me had reached the place where that snake had coiled itself with blood coming out of its mouth, then the woman turned around. When that woman turned around, I then saw that this woman that was about to be killed by this snake, it was my mother. Before I could scream for help, I was then pulled out of the water. Then that priest told me that with all that I had done, he thought that maybe I was very brave. I was not supposed to be a coward because the sacrifice had already been accepted. That was how my mother passed away. With her blood, my brother, I got a lot of money. Even now, I am still living under those conditions whereby here and there I have to return to that priest. I don't know how he manages to store my mother's blood. Whenever I return to that priest shrine, I'll always see that my mother's fresh blood will be inside this pot. Then he will proceed with cleaning me with my mother's blood so that I can be renewed and money can keep on flowing in my life. He said only after the blood that is inside the clay pot would have been finished, that is when a second sacrifice will be required from me. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brothers. Strange things do happen in this world. I was going over this other confession that was sent to us by one of our brothers, who is saying that I am from Nigeria. Is there any rules and regulations if I am about to send my own confession? Yo, strange things do happen in this world. I'll come back with our brother's confession.